Fisk,
Here.
Christensen,
Here.
Milks,
Here.
Weber,
Yes.
Cantrell.
Here.
Thank you. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda at this time? I personally would like to table number 3 regarding the rental inspection policy. We haven't seen those changes, and I would like to study those ahead of time and probably talk to Mr. Shackleton at the same time. Does anybody have any objections to those?
No.
No?
I don't have any objections.
Any other changes? All right, besides that, can we approve the agenda, please?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Luann moves.
I'll second.
Warren seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. On the consent agenda is only a motion approving
Public
the...
comment.
Oh, public comment. Are there any public comments tonight? Yes, sir. If you come to the podium and state your name and address, you have a couple of minutes. Good evening.
Robin, Renee Vanderwalker.
What's your address, Renee? Robin?
Robin.
Robin?
34 3rd Avenue Southeast, Unit 1.
All right.
I have a complaint about the snow removal ban. I feel that there will be, most of the citizens of Oelwein do not have driveways and will suffer severe consequences from the ordinance. People that have to walk in blizzard conditions, wind chills of sub-zero temperatures. I feel that people that will be affected will be the elderly, handicapped, parents with children, pregnant women, myself included. What types of problems might result? Pneumonia, resulting in medical bills and possible lost wages, bronchitis and or influenza, broken bones or brain injuries from falls, frostbite with or without amputations, and some of these injuries could result in death.
And this is because of the change from,
Having to park behind Ace Hardware and having to walk home because you do not have a ride home.
where do you live?
I live where,
I mean, how far do you then, that's 3 blocks.
that's not 3 blocks from me,
No?
no.
So there,
And it affects most everybody in Oelwein because not everybody has a driveway.
well, most people do have a driveway, but it's just that you can't park now on either side, odd or even when it snows like we used to, but you can park in your yard.
Actually, I was informed that somebody had parked in their yard just to unload their groceries and they got a $25 fine.
Well, if that's it, then they need to come and talk to us about it, but that shouldn't be a problem. But this is regarding a snow problem when there is predicted up to 3 inches of snow.
Yes, and there will be times where the conditions will be more than 3 inches in blizzard conditions and sub-zero temperatures and having to walk all the way from Ace
So-
to home.
Yeah, so what the point is hopefully you can park on your yard before that 3 inches.
Snows is deep. Snows is deep in your yard, you ain't gonna park in your yard. A lot of people would park in their yard anyway, because it's not be accessible for that purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So people who have to walk home in a damn blizzard because they had to park the car downtown and fall and bust their head open, the city can be responsible for the cost.
Can you tell me your name, sir?
Tom Vanderwalker.
Okay. I don't know what the solution is to your particular problem, Ms. Vandy Walker, but this is,
I feel that, personally, I feel that things were not broken to begin with, and this is just unnecessary.
Here's the one way of putting it. One would have to believe that the authors of this ordinance did not think it through. If they did ponder the potential consequences for their fellow citizens and still proceeded to issue such an edict, then it would not speak very highly of them. People in the community are going to suffer. People with money won't, because they got the driveways, they got everything they need. The rest of the folks, you even got enough room to park out there in the car in Oelwein that doesn't have a driveway? I wouldn't count on it. and people's cars are getting broken into, people are getting hurt. Not good.
Do you have an alley behind your house, man?
Do I have an alley behind my house? No, I do not.
Thank you for your time. I don't know what the solution is. Sorry about that. We can't have a separate ordinance for every separate incident.
Communities in Iowa don't put their citizens through what you're gonna put these people through. Other cities in Iowa find different ways of dealing with the problem, than forcing people to pull their car 24 hours a day down some parking lot because that's the weather service that it might snow. And people getting sick, falling down, breaking legs, frostbite,
Yes, sir.
you name it. There's so many things that could happen to these people who are just because they don't have much money, they're the ones who are gonna be the victims who are parking downtown,
Well,
and they're gonna suffer the consequences.
Thank
well,
you.
I do understand that if any of these things do occur to someone, the city of Oelwein can be sued.
Okay. Thank you for your comments. Next is a resolution filling the vacancy in the office of the council at large by appointment and the publication of the notice thereof.
You still have the consent
Oh,
agenda.
still have the concession? Is there anybody else that has anything to say? Roger.
Roger Oelwein, here in Oelwein, okay?
No,
Maybe I
address,
came-
Raj.
I came to ask you.
Roger, what's your address?
My address,
Yes,
209 7th Avenue Southwest.
thank you. Mm-hmm.
Maybe I came to ask you if you will fill that vacancy for the city council.
Me personally?
Yes.
Thank you, Roger. But I can't do
And
that.
I'll put on my long john to go door knocking for you and get your signatures. All you have to do is call me, I'm in the phone book.
Thank you, Roger.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Okay. Anyone else?
Oh, one thing more. You've done a great job as mayor of the city of Oelwein. Look around.
Thank you. Thank you, appreciate that. Now, can we move on to the consent agenda? A consideration of a motion approving the November 25th council minutes.
Make a motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approve, pose same sign. Thank you. Next is an ordinance consideration deleting section 22 to 101. This is the third and final reading, and this is regarding the snowplow ordinance.
Make
Motion.
the motion.
Matt moves.
I'll second it.
Warren seconds. Roll call.
Hess,
Yes.
Christensen,
Yes.
Milks,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Cantrell. Yes. Ordinance 1178.
All right, and we're going to skip the rental inspection policy for tonight and go on to consideration of a resolution filling the vacancy in the office of the council at large by appointment and the publication of the notice thereof. Is there any?
The only
Motion?
question I've got is, as I've heard, have this been enough nominations to have a regular vote? Has anything
You
been
don't
turned in?
have a vote, and they can't file a petition until after I nominate someone. It's up to
Okay,
me.
thank you.
So that's
That helps.
the next sequence.
That's the
Am I
next-
correct, Mr. Dillon?
So we gotta go through this to
Yep.
get to that?
Yep.
Okay, gotcha.
You have to appoint somebody, and then if they don't like it, then they,
It doesn't sound like they're gonna like whoever's going.
right.
Okay.
So,
I'll make
Luann
a
move,
motion.
I'll second it.
Warren seconds. Roll call.
Hess,
Yes.
Christensen,
Yes.
Milks,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Cantrell.
Yes.
Resolution number 5132, 2019.
Next are motions. Consideration of motion authorizing signatures on task order of Fox Engineering for Oelwein 2020 Water Main Improvement Project.
Mayor Council, this is the CDBG project that we are going to be moving forward with, and the budget for this overall project is a $1.2 million figure, with the CDBG grant coming in at $600,000, and then the $686,000 is going to be an SRF loan from the city of Oelwein. We're using a water infrastructure fee to pay that loan off, and so you're seeing a task order from Fox, as they have been in the design phase and worked with Upper Explorerland and the city on this application. You'll notice at the very, well, it was a map, but apparently not anymore. So,
Anybody have any questions for Dylan?
Yeah, I do. The engineers, these totals right here, the total project budget, is that to do the whole water line, $81,000?
that's to put everything back into place. Is that, because you have to remove the road, dig it up, put it back down, put the street back down, so,
The 81,000,
yep.
For everything, for all that.
okay.
And it includes some of the design. Everything's built into it. Well,
So evidently that first project isn't very big then.
we tried to hit the areas that were the worst, and that we've gone and dug up already. This is the estimate, though, and so we hope that it comes in under that.
Who's gonna give out is this Fox Engineering gonna give out the bids? Well, the only comment I wanna make about that is hopefully they give out bids that we get back more than one quote, like we did the last time. We only got one quote back, and
something.
since then I've heard two people say that,
One bid from Blackhawk,
yeah,
yeah, during the, I mean, we follow all
I
this.
guess my question is there something in their bidding process that, and I've heard this from two people, that their bidding process isn't, something about their bidding process that they don't like, so.
Yeah, I think we tried something different on that street project, and it caused people to get upset that it's not normally how it was done for that street project, and so they didn't want to bid it. And we've kind of looked at that. Vic and I had a couple discussions over it, and so
Okay.
we'll be doing it differently on that. But we anticipate this being a fairly regular bid process, and we should hopefully see 5 to 6 or more.
And it's a lot more money too, so, yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Any other questions? We have a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Matt moves.
I'll second.
Darren second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Next, consideration of a motion approving pay request number 7. This is the final payment of $9,393.50 to Flynn Company, and authorizing signatures on the statement of completion and final acceptance for work for the Old Road Paving Company improvement project. Any questions?
Yeah, I've got a question on that. So in reading this, did we have a air pocket problem or something in the concrete that the state didn't like, and they didn't give us all the money, and that, is it Fox gonna pay that back to us out of their pocket, what we don't get from the state? Is that how I read that? The 15,000 or whatever it is?
That is correct. So,
So I guess my only concern is we've been talking about streets and how they weren't done right and that type of thing. I guess air pockets in the concrete, I'd like to make sure that we're doing roads correct, that we do now, so.
this was a disagreement between the state of Iowa and the contractor. And, I mean,
Not Fox Engineering.
no, and I wish I could get into the weeds on it a little bit more with you, Warren, but I don't build roads, unfortunately. But it went back and forth for a long time, and there was a lot of discussions, and the contractor was adamant that it was fine, and it amazes me when we take these state funds how all of a sudden the road needs to be built to an amazing spec compared to what we've normally done within the city.
Yeah, I would agree with you that driving on some of these other concrete roads, how they're failing pretty quick, but anyway. Yeah, I guess my only concern there is hopefully that we're getting it built right, so that's my only concern.
Okay. We have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Now we have a motion directing the staff on the next steps for working on the west side order. Any direction?
I'd
You want to
like,
move that?
how do you want, what do you want me, to- well, I'd say is, hopefully that Steve, I think that the people that are involved in it are the ones that need to get together on it. And if they can get together where they're, I like to see them give a chance, and hopefully we'll know something before the next city council meeting.
Do you want us to facilitate that at a city?
I would appreciate if the city still is some facilitation,
Yes,
yes.
if
That's
Victor's
I would,
involved
I
in the
would
whole
not
thing.
feel comfortable if it wouldn't not be.
Okay.
Well, I think ultimately it's gonna be whether they have good communication, because
Ex-
if
ex-
Steve can call
ex-
him at any
Yeah,
time.
exactly, I
At
agree
this
with
point,
that there,
we need
but
to
still
continue
this,
monitoring.
Yeah. What's that?
At this point, we need to continue monitoring until.
Yeah, somebody needs to continue to monitor it. Now
I think
then,
the
it's whether
city
the
does.
city does or whatever.
You want to make a motion that the city continue to monitor until,
Yes, I'll make a motion.
They
the city
all
I'll
meet.
continue.
second.
is there-
Until what? Or until we hope that the
Well, I think
parties involved
Well,
can,
there has to be something, excuse me for interrupting, but there has to be some, I thought we discussed that there's gonna be something established, that we're gonna have whatever step, something, because we're coming back, we're talking about this, so we need to have something set.
There's already what we discussed before was the procedure of
Perfect.
how we were gonna move through it. That we would receive the information, we would vet it, make sure we'd make sure that what they install is working. All that is still in force.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't say we're backing out of it, we just
Exactly.
warned that when we feel comfortable, we're gonna start slowly backing away. And as long as everything works
I-
out, so.
I think the whole problem with that is, and then what I stated during the work session is that when you're smelling the same smell all the time, I think him having a monitor down there, and it sounds like they're more than willing to give him a monitor down there to monitor it. That's the
Is
problem,
that right, Tim?
Renee.
All right.
No, and I
Yeah.
truly agree with that, but I
Good.
still think there needs to be something between all three parties.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
I mean,
yeah.
I think there
Yes.
needs to be something
I agree.
on that, not just, I don't wanna just have two, then you have,
You make that into a motion, and Tim's already agreed to give Steve and Becky
There is a motion on the table, Mayor,
about.
to continue, made by Darren, just to continue to
Continue to
monitor the
monitor it.
discharge.
I second it already.
Renee second. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Committee reports. Darren doesn't have any,
There's
no
none.
airport, none. Anybody have anything else to report?
I have a meeting coming up next week up there, if anybody's got any questions upper Explorer
Up at
Land
Upper
for
Explorer
the,
Land?
Section 8, any of that.
How many houses are there now?
Well, we're down to, what was it? She
We had
said-
100.
Yeah, way under 100.
Are we?
85 was the last report.
Was
you
it?
made.
Was it, yeah.
That's, okay. All right. I have nothing to report. Mr. Dillon?
We're gonna start submitting two separate bills to the
Okay.
city, one for nuisance-related enforcement and one for.
We'll come back to it.
Yeah.
And one for non-nuisance related stuff, so Dylan can better track our
That'd be great.
activities. So
Okay.
we've noticed that it's, and then there's the service fees and everything else on there that can distort, it looks like.
Sure.
So we're gonna
Okay.
get that squared away. And I think the global agreement with, the landowner we've been talking with should be coming up here shortly. We're just proofreading the, legal descriptions and things like that right now, so it should be in good order shortly.
Put that in the section 529.
Matt?
Under council updates, I would like to bring up one point of interest that I would like to have further conversation on in regards to cleaning the streets during the fall for leaf cleanup. This year, I've had conversations with residents within my ward and the local grocery store. Seems to be the place to be to have these conversations.
They got a leak problem in the grocery store?
No. So the conversation surrounded the lack of seeing the street sweeper out in the fall when we made the decision to not do leaf collection and not have a designated day to clean up, the remarks was made that the street sweeper would still be seen, just not in a particular schedule. That did not happen this year. So I would like to have that conversation again about what is the plan going into next year. We talk about leaves that have naturally fallen in the roadway, leaves that were pushed out into the road by the resident. Obviously, that's a different issue. That is an issue meant for us to follow up with the property owners, so that way it is enforced what ordinances are in place. But the ordinances in regards to the actual leaves in the street, I do believe that's the city's responsibility to make sure that we are cleaning up the residential neighborhoods. If you drove through some of them today, it is not acceptable in my opinion, the condition that they are in. And those, to me, are not from residents putting the leaves into the street. So we have pieces of equipment to use. We were told a certain attribute would happen, and in my opinion, that did not happen this year. So before next year, we need to have a discussion of what's truly going to happen and make sure that is followed through.
Is it too late to send it out this year? Keep sending them out?
Yeah,
Yes.
winterized it, yeah.
Mayor, Council, Councilmember Weber did bring this up, and we have some information tonight prepared by our utility superintendent, Vic Kane, and so you can review that. And if there's any more discussions, then we welcome that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I want it to be an open line of communication before next year, so that way we make sure what ordinances are in place, what we're expected to do, those happen. That's it. That's all I had on the
Did you want to pass? Sure.
What I put together is a little synopsis of what we were trying to do with the ordinance, kind of how
Thank
the
you.
work went this fall.
There you go, Vic.
I think one thing that gets overlooked quite a bit when it comes to city work is that we are basically a contractor type of a service. So we're heavily dependent upon the weather. So one thing we talked about when we passed the ordinance was to try to get more funds put into street actual repairs and more work time allowed to make it, allow us to do more repairs. And get rid of some of the extremely heavy, time-consuming, less well-done processes we were doing. So, just to give you an idea, if you look at October, you'll see that on the 23rd, the first night, she drops to 0. That's the night the big event started to occur and the leaves started to come down, just to give you an idea. I put in here the average temperatures. So they were much lower than that, somewhat higher than that, just to give you an idea of the daily averages that we were working with. I also included the work report I sent out for that week to either correlate back to the amount of work that we had going on at the time. We never would have went out that quick. We might have went out the 28th as they were starting to come down, kind of would have been our first time to get moving forward because that's when the leaves started coming down. As you can see, we were working on the snow that was coming, so we were hurrying up and getting our winter stuff put together because we had a snow event coming in early. So that's October. If you look through November, you can see the average temperatures again. And part of the reason I'm bringing up the average temperature is the street sweepers have water in them, so you can't really take them out in freezing weather; they'll freeze up. So that really hinders us on when we can use those. So being that this cold front came in early, you can see how the average temperatures dropped into the 30s, below 30, pretty much all the way through November. In the interim of that, we were out trying to take care of some other stuff we wanted to get done because winter hit us early. So we were out doing our alleys, doing our roadways. We also had started the tree removals. And one thing with tree removals is we're kind of dictated to by the contractors doing it, and they get time to do it, and then come in and coordinate with them. And that was one of the things we wanted to do in the fall, was part of the reason we got rid of the leaf pickup. see, the first week, we dropped 17 trees. We dropped another 37 the next week and the holiday week. So just in November alone, we dropped 54 trees, which is an immense amount compared to what we've ever done before. When we do this, it requires everybody, because he's putting trees down pretty fast, and we're the ones cleaning them up all the way. So that pretty much takes both the staff time to do that.
Evidently, that's not true all the time, because I saw several city employees sitting for an hour and a half at least, waiting on that guy.
Oh, yeah.
And all the worst spots in town was right there at my corner. You know?
Depending on the size of the tree and how much of an entanglement it had with it.
Yeah, and it had a lot. It was in the high line, so he spent most of his time there doing that, getting that out of there. And we had 2 trucks sitting and a payloader and
Yeah,
another
that's
inloader.
the way it seems to
Yeah,
work.
yeah.
We got one up on 6th, he made, I think, 6 trees down in about an hour, because they were all right in a row, so.
How long does it take to winterize the street sweeper?
It's not that big a thing. You can see in there where they said they winterized, put it in storage, and then you'll see later in the report, we have to get it back out and sweep again.
So how do you determine where to sweep? Because I didn't see it run over there by my area very.
No, what we did is we had them do the downtown at one point, because
Oh.
the Christmas event was coming. We thought, well, it started to kind of warm up during the day. Can we get out, pull it back out, try to use it, because the weather seems to want to come back up. So we went downtown, tried to do some sweeping up. Had some issues with one of the cylinders went bad on it. Got it running anyway. Long story short, the next day the wind kicked up. You know, to tell we went down there and did it.
Yeah.
Then the temperature started to drop on us again. Then we had all the, of course, stump removal, so we removed actually like 67 stumps because we found a bunch that had been sitting around for years, which is us, again, cleaning up and hauling everything away. So we had the crew balled up with that, and then as you can see, like I said, we had a lot of just the low bad temperatures. Then we started to see it round again and starting to come up, and we decided we had areas in the roadways that were rock. So we spend the time and run out and try to get these rock roads put back together quick while the weather seems to break. So we prioritized that so that we didn't have to deal with rock roads chunking up all the way. So we had to run and get asphalt, crew in, start working on those. On top of that, the 42 well came online, and for some reason it was driving the pressure up in its area, so it takes it from 60 plus up to 80, which started causing main breaks like we did when we first brought the big system online. So you'll see where we were jumping back and forth trying to do main repairs. We did a lot of workload actually in this amount of time. So the leaves did suffer from it and suffer from the actual weather. What we had planned is, as we did last year, in the spring, we always come out and start sweeping. So we just catch them all in the spring like other towns do at that time. The ones that are still running are running vacuum units. They're not running a street sweep. So that really helped us. So that's kind of what happened with it. So yeah, if you want to review the process, is there other ways to do it better? It could be a good budget thing. See, sometimes sit down and discuss what exactly services you're after, whatever.
Vic, I have a question here. So the temperature average, what was Oelwein's actual temperature?
That's what this is what it told me this was Oelwein's.
Okay.
I just went to a weather underground site and pulled up history, so.
Okay.
You'll
They
see
try
the-
to get it off the airport, I would imagine.
Well, the one day it went from 50 to 0. I mean, it's kind of been all over the place. The problem now too is you got a lot of it froze down. Because when the leaves start dropping,
Oh,
we got them snow events. You'll read through there, we had 3 or 4 snow events. That added moisture to it and it started freezing down. We actually went out last week because we thought we'd do some cleanup over here by the old library where we had a main break. And the guy came back in and said, I can't get anything out, it's all frozen down. So the weather is really what's got us topsy-turvy on the street sweeping this year. Last year, we started sweeping end of October, and we were done like November 20th. So the weather held, everything was good, we got done what we needed to do. This year, it's just the weather. It's kind of like all the road repairs we had to do. The weather blew them up this spring and added a different workload to us, so we kind of shift around that way.
So I understand the weather component. Obviously, I understand also that not all residents have a means to clean in front of their property. I mean, obviously, I clean the entire length all the way down to the bridge because I have the equipment to do it, okay? So I'm not worried about our storm sewer plug-in, but not everybody has that means. Not everybody has the means to haul it away. So I want to make sure that next year, obviously, nobody can predict the weather for next year, I get it. But we need to have some kind of plan to try and do something. We have the equipment. I understand all the work that was done, get it, okay? But when you have residents saying, okay, now look at my street, now the plows are gonna go by and they're gonna plow all those leaves that
And dirt.
naturally fell into the street.
Yeah.
Now they're gonna plow that into my
Yard.
yard that I take care of. Now I have to deal with that in the spring. Okay, I think that's fair.
Yep.
So I just want, this is a valid point to bring up, in my opinion, because of the number of people who've actually said something about it. So I just want to make sure before next year, we're having a different conversation about the expectations.
And I'm sure you're not the only ward that, I mean, I had it
Agree?
too, because I know people that they pay, and then like 3 days later,
Yeah.
boom, it happens again. So they
Yep.
paid the second time, so now the third time they said, we're not paying. You know, so that's, because they don't want it, you know, they're trying. So so I think that's something you've already asked, I think we'd look into it then next.
Agreed.
Yeah, that's
Agreed.
Part of the issue. with
Yeah, I
the
think so.
weather is the length of time that it
Yes, I
occurs
think we look.
for us.
Well, like anything, one day you can clean, the next day your neighbor's tree is all in your yard. I get it.
So I
Will
think
we
that's,
be taking down that many trees next year?
If the ash trees keep dropping, we actually need to keep escalating more and more trees. But
So then when we look at budget, like maybe you need more help?
that's the thing.
Seasonal help?
Yeah.
Equipment, how we want to do what service, how much, you know. It's really a good budget conversation.
Yeah.
So
that's
tree
something we
cutting
need.
be-
Sounds good to me.
Delayed.
Why can't we utilize some of the
Couple
parks
weeks
department
so that
staff
it
that we
needs to be
normally
picked
lay
up?
off?
That's what I was thinking.
It's my hope if we can get it shuffled in, maybe we can
Sure.
do the pickup. Problem is,
They
I don't
want a
know if the
street sweep or not.
sweeper's gonna be-
We can look at that.
Did you
know,
say
we
they don't know
decided
how?
We're trying something new, we had
Yeah.
last year. I
If
think
they-
people
if we
still
wanna
don't
use them or
realize
not.
We're not picking up, so they push
They
their
can
leaves
call
out
the
into the
wood.
streets.
I
When
would,
do we-
I would agree.
when do we
I
let them
absolutely
off?
know some of the
Is there,
people
like, a
did
date?
that because they
November.
were expecting.
The end of November?
Pick up.
Yes, just
Well, we
have
should
been
have them done by
educated.
then.
yeah.
Then we
So I
also
think that's something then, while we discuss then,
agree.
All right,
Okay.
thank you, Vic.
Thanks.
Thanks, Vic.
Mr. Mulfinger, anything else?
No report tonight, Mayor, other than we do have a meeting at the end of December, so we will be here that night.
All right. Meeting adjourned, if anybody makes a motion.
I make motion.
Warren
Second
moves.
it.
Matt seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Thank you very much.
Excuse me.